All right, welcome to Axiom Private Tutoring, the home of distinctions. All right, I just thought I must just tell the story on how Axiom was born. Axiom was registered in 2010. By the way, my name is Musedi Nganyani. I'm the founder of Axiom. So Axiom was registered in 2010. How Axiom came about, it was just so funny because I used to do tutoring actually from high school. I used to do tutoring. So I used to tutor grade 10s when I was in grade 12. So I used to tutor maths. So my love for maths actually started in grade 6. That's when I started being the highest in maths, and it started with a small thing like multiplication table. So I started in class being the top in or the very fast in calculating multiplication table. So our teacher, the demo slide, very good teacher, great teacher who really instilled maths in in most of us in that year. So he will he will give you multiplication like 5 times 10, cancel 0 minus 9 times something. So you gotta have to listen and give the answer right there. So I started being very good with that, and that's what my math started. That's where my math started. So grade 6, grade 7, I was the top in class. I got to high school, I was the top in class, in everything. So I think my biggest challenge was English. So where I was not really the top in the class, but I worked so hard, to make sure that my English as well, marks go higher as well, so that in overall I can top the class. So it was a great high school year, and I started enjoying teaching even my classmates, maths, even other subjects. And I had really time in explaining, and they really liked the way my methods and how I explain. And that's how I realized that really I have a gift in teaching, or in just explaining the concepts. So I finished and I went to varsity. But just before I went to varsity, I had a gap year where I came to South Africa. I'm from Lesotho originally, by the way. So I came to South Africa to do construction. And that was that year where I lost parents, and I was faced with a challenge to support my siblings. So they were still very young. I was faced to make sure that they will go to schools, I'll be able to pay the school fees, for them. So I came I came to do construction. And construction, that's where I learned, a bit of leadership, because I was like a foreman. So I was like their managers, my team's manager, because I could be able to communicate with clients in English. Most of them, they could not be able to speak English. So I would communicate with clients, and I'll be able to be the go-to guy. And I would be the one who's measuring the square meters, because we're paid by square meters, and be able to pay the clients actually. So that's when I learned the hard work. And I came back, I went to University of Lesotho, and that's where I did my first year. And when I was doing my second year, I really did very well in my first year. I got, for both first year and second year, I passed with distinctions. So when I was doing my second year, that's when I started tutoring the first years. So I will have a full class, actually for free. I never thought that somebody would pay you for tutoring. So I invested in so much in learning maths. I used to have a Friday where I call 6 to 6. So I do maths at 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. In the morning. I will do maths the whole night. I will be doing maths the whole night, practicing. That's when I invested, on my knowledge for maths. So, and I used to do maths topics before the teacher or the lecturer, started the topics. So I decided that, the course is not really challenging me. I applied to varsity. So I came to Wits University. I had 2 universities that I wanted to come to, either Wits or UCT. So I chose Wits because as I was doing my researches, I felt like Wits is better than UCT. and it was closer to home. So I came to Wits. That's when I was able to do maths and computer science. I really excelled with my maths, and my friends used to give me the name doctor, or killer, because of maths. So that was great. That was my great time when I at Wits, where I even one of the very difficult course I scored 98%, where people were battling. I remember in my second year, it's basic analysis. It's one of the courses that maths majors battle with at Wits. Yeah, so I did, my love for maths keep growing. And 2010, I got a call from a client. Oh, what a nice call. So I was told that the client has got my numbers in Lesotho, and they were looking for somebody that can train their grade 12 learner to really excel in grade 12 and to be able to go to varsity. And they committed to pay me $500 a weekend. That was good news to my ears, and I was so happy. To have that opportunity. So I grabbed the opportunity with two hands. I called a friend of mine to do science, and I did maths. So I excelled. I never thought, because I was panicking, am I gonna, do well? Because now this is my first time now doing this, being paid to do it. I used to do it because no one will hold me accountable at that point in time, because no one was paying me. I was doing it for free. So now first lesson, I really excelled. The child was doing well at school. The marks started increasing. This child got distinctions for maths paper 1 and paper 2 together, combined together. Did well, very amazing for paper 3 as well. That time there was paper 3. And then the child did AP maths with me. That was just, it was great, because the child was not doing AP at school. The child was doing, didn't start AP, so we have to do AP from grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12 AP. And the child did well with AP as well. And the child was able to get into vets to do medicine. So it was a great achievement for me. But during that year, I got another client. The boy was, so that girl was from St. Stephen's. So the boy was from CBC. And the boy was about to be kicked out of maths to maths lead. And somebody called me, I know that you're tutoring, please come and help this boy. I grabbed the opportunity with two hands as well. I was able to save the guy from being thrown into maths lead, and he was told to get above, I think, 60%. He did not only got above 60%, but also was the highest in class, in that test. So he was being saved to go to maths, and he was able to go to maths. And even now, the boy was able to, 2 years later, was able to finish matric, and he was able to go to UJ and do a course in business that involved business, and he needed the maths as well, and he was able to do well with maths. And during that year, we're able to approach a friend, and we registered a company. And that company was Axiom Private Tutoring. So that was amazing and an achievement, because it was one of my plans to make sure that I would register that company and start working out. So things didn't really work out for the company. One needed, to learn much how to run a tutoring business or to run a business. I had always had an entrepreneur's skills, especially sales. But it didn't really, we needed so much, to run the company. So we paused the company for some years until we finished, I finished my degree. When I finished my degree, that was the time that I decided I'm going full-time with this company. And we had already collected so much clients on my side only. So we started and established a company. We started hiring few tutors. But here's what was really different, because we decided to go the route of being very unique to other tutoring companies. I realized that when you are at a high school, especially if you're not from, you are from not so well off, family, you will need something that that will bring cash, and for us, or for me, it was tutoring, and I was able to support my siblings with tutoring. So I just thought of other students that are really excelling and that don't have cars, because most tutoring companies would want you to own a car for you to be able to to tutor, because you're gonna have to go to houses that are in the suburbs, and it will be difficult to get there without a without your car. Without a car, it will be a mission. And we decided, how do we solve the problem? How do we make sure that we have this skillful young boys and girls that have did well in their matric, to come and mentor the kids without being sidelined because of their ability to be able to own a car. So we decided that we're gonna do smaller groups, and we're gonna be based at the offices. Now, our smaller groups, the reason we did smaller groups as well, we realized one-on-one becomes too expensive for the parents. So we wanted something that has got a one-on-one basis, or one-on-one taste, that can help lower the cost as well, but also the kids are able to be monitored. But we didn't want a bigger class, because a bigger class will not help us to be able to instill the confidence level in the kids. So as we polish them. All right, so we decided that, let's just do smaller groups. We have like group of 2 learners, 4 learners. We even, recently introduced, 8 learners, which is our biggest group. Yeah, so we decided that, we're gonna have to have these kids, this varsity students or graduates, or even professionals that excelled at their high schools level, and they were able to tutor, and they are skilled in terms of explaining. So we decided that, if we need a maths person, tutor, we need somebody who has done maths at varsity as well. So somebody who can think outside the box. So because we were trying to solve the problem that we see at schools as well, we needed somebody who has passion in maths. So that's what we decided, that this is the type of the people that we're gonna hire, we're gonna employ. So Axiom now has got it's 10 years since it was registered, and what amazing achievement it is. And we have polished so much shining stars within that time. So we have mastered the art of being able to help the kids. We have mastered the art of being able to move the child from 20% to 60%, or from 60% to 90%, or you can even move from 40% to 90%, because sometimes there are few things that discourage kids. Normally kids, if they fail on something, and they, it gets into their mind that, they are not good at it, they spend less time on it. Once they spend less time on it, they do bad on it as well. So as they do bad on it, they are discouraged, they lose the confidence. So what we do, we build that confidence, because we know every child in that interact with us, Axiom, can be able to get distinction. So, and people get surprised, because they feel like, now I was not born with math. No, it just depends on the time that you spend, because somebody may spend 20 hours on maths a week to get distinction, and somebody may spend just 4 hours a week to get distinction. Some may spend 2 hours a week to get distinction, depending on the level as well. So that depends. So the child needs to understand what works for them, how long they need to spend. There are people that are faster, there are people that are slower, but we will all get at the finish line. So for you to be able to do that, you need to identify how many hours you need a week for you to be able to get the distinction. So that's what we do. We even check their timetable. We need to check what works for them, what works for your child. Sometimes it's just the laziness. So how do we get rid of that laziness, and because that laziness sometimes over time make the child to be able to move from 80% to 20%, because they were lazy to practice. For instance, I interacted with a child that we worked with the child get 90s, and he was top in one of the in the high school class, and he was getting 90s. So that child stopped coming for lessons, and he was unfortunately moving from grade 9 to grade 10. And that child, on the first semester, for first term, he got 30 something percent from being a 90s student. And that discouraged the child, and it took the child to even get back to where he was before, after he come back for extra lessons again. So it's because of what it plays in the children, that confidence level, how it plays in the children life, so it is something that even parents need to get aware of, to be able to, how do you get your child to be encouraged to be able to know that they can also get 90%, they can also get 80%, and it's not only about the children beating themselves when they get 60% or or 70%. It's the children to be able to know that they are capable of getting 80%, 90%. If you're not getting it, you should just to work towards it, to be coached, because we coach the kids. I know that there are so many people that think that tutoring is for kids that are struggling, like getting 20%, 30%, 40%. But tutoring is like mentoring. It's how do I get you to the next level? How do you become a better person? You can get 90%, but you need a tutor. So to be able to work at your full potential in all the subjects, because it's a matter of time that your energy can drift down. You can change from grade 10 to grade 11, and your maths mark move from 90% to 65%, and that's bad. And now what we do as Axiom is to make sure that your child keep their energy, they keep hitting their potential. So that's what we do at Axiom.